Yo, what's good, my YouTube family? Alex Moore here, back again with another video. Thank you as always for tuning into the channel. Make sure you guys do follow me on Instagram at @realalexmore_. This is the best place for y'all to catch me when I'm not posting on here. Today I'm going to be sharing with you guys some things that I wish I knew back in my 20s. If you guys don't know, I recently did turn 32 a few days ago, and I've had a chance to do some reflecting. You know, a lot of us think that our 30s are going to be the best years of our life. That's the time that we're going to be stable. That's the time we're going to start a family. That's the time that things that we work so hard for in our 20s are going to start to flourish in our 30s, and we're going to just experience the best parts of life. While that can be true for a lot of people, my path has been a little bit different, and while I am still in my early 30s, and those things I do believe will come later on in my 30s, hopefully, the reality that the world projected to me versus where I'm at as a 32-year-old myself is two different things. My 30s have been very, very shaky for me. I've gone through things as far as buying a new home, which is probably the biggest achievement that I have to date, but also getting laid off from that home 6 weeks after moving in. Having some seasons where I make a lot of money, other seasons where I don't make a lot of money, seasons where maybe I'm more active in the community or more active with building friendships, and then other seasons where I'm stuck to myself. And while I am thankful for all of those lessons and experiences that I've had, things are not what I expected it to be. I'm just sharing this because I'm sure there may be some other people who are in their 30s, shoot, maybe in their 40s or 50s, who have felt the same way that I felt. And I just want to come on here and just talk about some things that I would just tell the younger version of me, the 21, the 22-year-old. One of the things I want to start off by saying that I would tell my younger self is, hey, it's okay to not have it all figured out. You're not in a race against anybody. Don't compare your journey and what you're going through to what another person's going through with their journey, because you don't know what they had to overcome. You don't know if they had to overcome certain failures in their life, certain disappointments in their life, people possibly passing away in their life, certain traumas that they've had to go through. I've had to learn that you can't compare your day one to someone else's day 90 or day 365, because we're all running a race at a different path. So just because you may be in your early 30s and don't have life figured out to a T the way you want it just yet, doesn't mean it's not all going to work out. It just means that your path, your time frame is a little bit different from somebody else's. Maybe you still have certain obstacles or certain lessons or certain experiences that you need to go through, whether it's good or bad, before you're able to be prepared for that blessing or for that new life that you want to go through. As I mentioned, I bought a new home, which was one of the greatest achievements of my life. I spent 16 months saving up enough money to be able to make that transition, but getting laid off from my job 6 weeks after moving in really hurt me. And for a long time I had questioned God and just questioned, why did I have to go through that? Why did I go through spending over a year stacking up money, sacrificing going out, living life to have this new reality where I thought I was going to move to a new city. I thought I was going to be living in luxury. I thought I was going to be just experiencing so many things that the city had to offer, but all of that got taken away in an instant. Why? I've had to realize that this may be a season for me just to learn how to overcome adversity even more. This may be a season for me to understand that just because you worked hard for something to happen doesn't mean you're going to get all the results that come with it. I had this grand idea. I'm in a new city. I'm making money. I got a house. I'm finally in my 30s on my purpose. I'm stable. And when I had all that taken away from me, it's like my identity kind of shifted. But maybe I had to go through that in order to realize that just because finances may not always be right, or just because relationships may not always be right, or just because the version that you saw yourself hasn't appeared just yet, maybe you have to understand that those are all external circumstances, and you're still a winner on the inside. You're still a champion. You're still a hard worker. You're still somebody who's extremely driven. Maybe I had to learn that I can't let the outside circumstances dictate who I am on the inside. Maybe I had to learn that these are just external things that don't need to validate who you are as a man. And I've just had to realize that that whole experience has made me stronger as a man, made me stronger for future purposes when things don't always go my way. But I had to experience that. I would just tell my younger self, things aren't always going to go your way. The plan that you had versus the reality of what the situation is may be two different things, but you have to figure out how you can pivot. You have to figure out how you can make adjustments when needed. You have to figure out how you can make sure that those L's that you may take are literally just lessons and nothing more than that. You have to learn to figure out how you can bounce back quick from failure, how you can bounce back quick from adversity, how you can bounce back quick from just things not going your way. And I think the younger me really would have struggled with that. I had plenty of times in my younger years where if I got hit with adversity or I got hit with the L or something didn't go my way, there was many times I folded in the past. I've had to learn in my 30s that these are all lessons, these are all new experiences, and you don't have to get so hard on yourself for losing a battle, because there's always going to be a new battle next, and you can succeed in that next battle. You can use that experience from your failure that you went through previously to get you through the next lesson. One thing I would also tell myself back in the 20s is don't get so caught up on the wins. Back in the day, I would feel myself a little bit. I would feel myself when I had money in my pocket. I would feel myself when I could go on dates with women. Again, going to the external standpoint really validated me on the outside and made me feel like I was a real man or moving the right way. One thing I would tell myself in my 20s is none of those things matter, bro. Like, don't get me wrong, it's great to make money, it's great to have experiences, but focus on building the right relationships with women. Don't get so caught up on, oh, I took this girl on a date, or I did this with this girl, or oh, shorty is feeling me, so I'm feeling good. Find that person that you can actually grow with. Find that person that loves you for you. Find that person that's willing to ride with you through the ups and through the downs. Find that person that you just genuinely are happy with. Don't necessarily go towards that person who's just the baddest female, the girl that you're lusting over. Like, there's more to life than just having a baddie. A lot of times us men don't realize there's a lot of problems that comes with having a baddie. There's a lot of baggage that comes with having that baddie. There's a lot of extra things that I think us as men may not be prepared for if you do get that baddie. It's important to just pick the right partner. Looks are important, so I ain't saying pick someone that's ugly. But what I'm saying is there's so much more to your partner than just the looks. There's so much more to your partner than just the status. There's so much more to your partner than just having somebody on your arm who looks good. And I would just tell my younger self, hey, make sure you're picking someone of quality. Make sure you're picking somebody of substance. Making sure you're picking someone who matches yourself and the man that you want to be. And that's no shade to any of the women that I've been with or dated before. So I want to put that out there. I'm not sitting here saying it like they're not worthy of that. But I'm just saying, there's just more to the eye than just looks. Another thing I would tell myself in my 20s is just lock in, bro. Figure out something that you're actually passionate and stick with it. I was somebody when I was younger, I would go from this thing to this thing to this thing. I would give myself just a small short term time frame of, okay, I'm locked in on this for 3 months. I remember at times it was YouTube. I remember at times it was health coaching. I remember at times it was Amway. I used to be an Amway affiliate marketer. I don't even remember what the exact name is, but I never did these things for long periods of time. It was always just, if I don't see success with it in 30 days and 60 days and 90 days, I would just go ahead and fall off and just quit and move on to the next thing. But as I get older, I look back and realize, like, dang, what if I did just stick with the YouTube when I was 22 years old? Like, where would I be at as a 32-year-old? Or let's say I did stick with the health coaching when I was 24, 25. If I would have kept up with it and did it consistently, now that I'm 32, who knows where I'd be at? Maybe I would have some type of financial freedom by now. Maybe I would be, successful in that business. So I would just tell myself to just stop going from thing to thing. Pick that one thing, learn how to practice delayed gratification, know how to sit there and just sacrifice time and just focus on your craft. And don't let the money stop you. I was somebody who used to think when I had a little bit of money in my pocket, that meant I was doing good. I was somebody who didn't go to college. I didn't have a college degree. So back then, when I saw myself being able to live the way I wanted to, especially living in Southern California at the time, living in San Diego, which is a beautiful city, one of the best cities to live in. When I saw that I was able to live in San Diego on my own and live life the way I wanted to, while not having a degree, not really having a purpose like that, but just making decent money, I felt myself. I felt like, I'm a young black man in America. I'm in San Diego of all places, and I'm making things work. I'm doing something. When in reality, I look back and I say, Alex, if you would have just locked in on that one thing, even if you had to take a pay cut in order to focus, like I just said, on the YouTube a little bit more, or on the side businesses a little bit more, if you would have just taken that pay cut at that time to focus on your craft a little bit more, you could have made so much more money in the future than you would have made limiting yourself, saying, hey, just because I make X amount of money and the average person isn't doing that, especially at that age, so I'm doing something. It's like, nah, I was still just so comfortable. I was still just going through the motions, drifting. And I just finished reading Outwitting the Devil not too long ago, and something that they talk about is 98% of the world is drifters. 98% of men and women have no purpose in their life, and I was somebody who was that person. I thought, okay, well, because I did have a decent amount of money, or because I did have friends, or because I could do this or could do that, that I was doing okay. But I was just masking the fact that I still was a drifter. I still didn't wake up with any obsession. I still didn't wake up with any type of desire in my life. So I would just tell the younger me, bro, whatever it is, I don't care how long it's going to take you. If it's something that you have that absolute desire for, something that you could wake up seeing yourself do every single day, you think about it over and over and over again, bro, lock in and just focus on that. Forget what you see the other people doing. I don't care if you see your friends coming out of college making X amount of dollars. I don't care if you see this person is a lawyer, this person done made it to become a professional basketball player, this person done made it as a realtor, whatever the case may be. Focus on you, bro. Social media, we get so caught up on looking cool on social media. I want to be the fly guy. I want to be the guy who stands out. I want to be the guy who's different from everybody else. Bro, stop comparing yourself to what you're seeing on social media. Social media is a highlight reel. What these people are portraying is not what people are going through in real life. There's so many people on social media portraying themselves like they have the money, they have this, they have that. Brother, you don't even know these people are broke. You don't even know these people are paycheck to paycheck. You don't even realize these people are in debt. They're putting on a facade. They're trying to portray something that they're not. That doesn't have to be you. And that's one of the biggest things I would tell myself in my 20s. And shoot, even people I think in my 30s and probably 40s and 50s need to hear that too. Stop trying to put on a facade. Stop trying to keep up with the Joneses. Stop trying to act like you have everything together when you don't. It's okay to not have everything together. It's okay to still be trying to figure things out, but you got to lock in, because you have to understand you don't want to be at that point forever. You don't want to be at that point for too long. One thing that really killed me as well when I was younger was just saying, hey, I'll do it later. I'll go ahead and study a little bit later. I'll start that new business a little bit later, or I'll do this next year. I'll start going to the gym next month. But those days never came, bro. I'll go ahead and do it next month or next year. Oh, I'm 23. I could wait. Oh, I'm 24. I could wait. Oh, I'm 25. I still have time. Bro, you keep telling yourself that. You're going to wake up one day and be 30. The last thing you want to do is wake up and be 30 years old and ask yourself, where did the time go? Because that's a terrible feeling, bro. And I know exactly what it's like, because I look back in my 30s now and I'm like, yo, I graduated high school 13, 14 years ago. I graduated class of 2011. It's 2025. So yeah, 14 years ago, I was in high school. The last thing you want to do is look back 14 years later and be like, yo, where did the time go? That's a terrible feeling, man. Where did the time go? Another thing I would tell myself in my 20s is, bro, do not let yourself go. Take care of your physique. If you guys don't know, I recently did start going to the gym. I've really locked in on the gym over the past few months. I just dropped a video earlier today actually talking about how I gained 15 pounds in 90 days. But I was somebody who struggled with my physique my whole life. I could have made this transformation a decade ago. It really isn't as hard as I made it seem, but I didn't have a plan. I didn't know what I was supposed to do, but I never studied. I never took the time to actually lock in and take it serious. But having a good physique is so important, and I can only imagine if I had taken my fitness seriously in my 20s, where I would be at in my 30s. And the reason why I bring up the physique and just taking care of yourself is because I'm sure we all know, we look back at pictures of ourselves in our early 20s. We had a great physique, metabolism was really, really fast. We could eat whatever we wanted, we could drink whatever we wanted, and we look good. But I'm sure you guys all know, you look back at people that you went to high school with, you look back at people that you went to college with, and you're like, dang, Jennifer don't look the same now at 30 as she looked at 22. Like, she used to look good. Now, she's really let herself go. Or Jonathan used to have the best physique. He used to be the top quarterback on the football team. And you look at him now and he's 300 pounds and out of shape and does nothing but drink beers and eat chips and eat junk food all day. And as I said earlier, I'm not saying that looks are everything, but looks do matter. You don't want to be known as that person who had it all together, that person who all the girls used to be wishing they could be with, and then you're in your 30s now and you just let yourself go. Like, it's not a good look, bro. Taking care of your look is extremely important. Just important to have yourself on point. It's important to have your hygiene on point. It's important to realize that these things do matter, and you can't just go through eating the junk food, consuming all the alcohol, not moving your body. These things are important. So to all my people in their 20s, maybe even in their teenage years, understand that your body is your temple. Put the right things into your body. I understand a lot of us do experiment with this or that, but understand, those are all things that are going to hurt you in the long run. Now, it is okay to have alcohol in moderation. I'm not here saying you have to be a monk and just never drink alcohol, but the last thing you want to do is get addicted to alcohol. The last thing you want to do is get addicted to weed. The last thing you want to do is get addicted to pills. You don't want these things to be a main part of your life because it's going to show in your image. It's going to show in how you look. It's just not going to look good, y'all. I would just tell myself, man, lock in on your physique. You could have achieved the physique you wanted a lot sooner if you had started when you were 20 years old. Another thing I want to touch on is just friends. Friends that you have when you're 21, 22, 23. They're not going to be the friends when you're 31, 32. It could be for multiple reasons. It could be, maybe they got married and had kids. Maybe y'all fall out. Just a lot of just random things happen, or your mindset shifts. You could be a person where you're like, I do understand I need to take life more serious. I do need to not be in the club like that. I do need to not be on the game like that. But you could have a homeboy who might still want to be on going to the club every single week. He might still want to be on getting at girls all the time. He might not know what he wants to do in his life. And so there's going to come a time where you're going to have to realize, okay, is this somebody that I want in my life who's bringing me down? Or am I going to have to give him some space and back up while I improve myself? He might understand and be like, you know what, my man's is just doing his thing. I understand that. Or he might even be like, you know what, he's doing his thing. Let me go ahead and get right and get on my purpose. Or he might look at it as, yo, this dude think he better than me. Who is he to say that he don't want to kick it with me when we done grew up together for the past 10 years, 15 years? But you got to understand that's how it works, bro. You got to understand people are not going to be on the same level as you. People are not going to have the same mindset of you. People are going to make certain life choices that are going to mess up their life that you don't want to be a part of. And that's a part of life. The girlfriend that you had when you was younger most likely isn't going to be the girlfriend you have in your 30s. Your best friend when you were in your 20s, there's a good chance that that might not be your best friend in your 30s. And you have to be able to prepare that. I used to be somebody who, as I was getting older, I used to get frustrated, like, dang, how come me and my homeboys, we not as close as we used to? And I used to be trying to force those friendships. But bro, you got to understand, you can't force no friendships. If they gonna be in your life, they gonna be in your life. If they not gonna be in your life, they not gonna be in your life. But you can't force friendships. You can't force relationships. You gotta let things flow. You gotta let things happen naturally. So if they on a different level from what you on, you gotta just let them be. I used to stress out over that when I was younger. Like, dang, how come I don't kick it with my homeboy no more? Dang, how come we don't talk on the phone the way we used to? Or dang, I want to go ahead and do something, but the vibes is just different. Understand that that's cool, bro, and fall back. That's something that I didn't really start understanding until dang near last year. I was just forcing friendships in my 30s last year. And it took me some time to understand after getting frustrated over and over and over again, let me just fall back. Let me let them do their thing. And instead of me focusing on them, why don't I just go ahead and focus on my purpose and what I need to do instead? And it's like once I did that, the homies actually started hitting me up even more and trying to talk a little bit more than they were before. It's crazy how all that worked, but just understand that these people ain't gonna be around like that. Understand that you need to take your credit extremely serious. Understand that, a lot of us weren't taught money management, but you need to have as great of a credit score as you possibly can. Having high credit is king, bro. A lot of people, especially in the black community, are not taught how important credit is or how to use credit to leverage yourself to get whatever you want. But if you can learn about credit, if you can learn how to leverage your credit, you can acquire so many assets. You can invest in so many different things. Real estate, just different properties you can get. There's so many things that can happen if you have the right mindset when it comes to credit. So that's very important. My microphone is dying, so I might have to wrap this video up pretty soon, y'all. The last thing I'll wrap this up with before my mic dies is trusting God, bro. I think a lot of us, especially when we're in our 20s, when we're younger, we don't put God as a focal point like that. I think we tend to fall into what the world brings us. We're living in the world, we're not living in God. But when we're living in world, we having kids when we're not supposed to be having kids. We getting in debt when we're not supposed to be getting into debt. We drinking, we smoking, we doing who knows what. The world isn't gonna be there for you. The world isn't there when you at your lowest. These people that you outside doing stuff with, they not there with you in bed and you facing your traumas or you facing just all the issues that you're really going through. But you gotta turn to God, bro. God can really just lead you on the right path. God can really be the only friend that you need. And if you could, whoo, I gotta be right here, y'all. I do not do good with bees, y'all. But if you could just listen to God and just follow His lead, and this is something that I'm still working on to this day. God is telling me to step outside of my comfort zone a lot more. God is telling me to really just focus. God has been eliminating certain things and people, whatever the case may be, from my life so that I could lock in and take things to the next level. But I think God was trying to do that the whole time, especially in my 20s, but I had just ignored him. I had been too caught up in trying to do the things that I wanted to do instead of doing the things that he wanted to do. But then I was getting frustrated when I wasn't getting the results that I wanted. But it's like I wasn't even letting him lead me down the right path. So now I'm really just focused on being more intentional and letting him lead me where I'm supposed to go. But if I would have just done that when I was 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, like who knows where I would have been at. I think a lot of us just get caught up in doing our own thing and just straying away from him and only coming to him in times of need. But it's important to come to him when everything is going great. It's important to read your Bible. It's important to ask him to lead you in the direction you want to go, especially when you're not always sure where it is that you want to go. It's important to ask him like God, just let me know, or show me a sign, or just read the word more. And it's like the more you do that, the more you're going to get answers, the more you're going to feel comfortable stepping outside of your comfort zone, the more you're going to be like, okay, let me just follow God and just do what it is that he's asking me to do. I feel like there's so many more things that I could add. I feel like I could probably go on this topic for hours, but the mic is about to die, and I don't even know where we're at. I really do hope that the camera did catch all this footage because I can't see anything right now. That's going to wrap it up for today's video. Go ahead and leave a like, comment, and subscribe. It's Alex Moore. I'll see you on the next video. I'm out. Peace.